So I just want to give y'all the recap of my first labor, delivery, pregnancy journey with Auntie, since baby number 2 is soon to be here. And I feel like there's a lot of things that, like, you never know what can happen during the whole birthing labor process thing. So I'm just gonna share y'all my experience and what happened with me. When I found out I was pregnant with Auntie, I had really bad morning sickness. Hated that. I lost so much weight, couldn't keep anything down for a really long time. I had the worst OBGYN. By the way, it's very important that you find an OBGYN that you feel is right for you. Don't just say, well, I want to save myself the trouble and just deal with this OBGYN. No. Go find you a whole new OBGYN because it'll be worth your time in the end and you'll feel more comfortable. The first one I had, he was not that great. We did a lot of testing and he ended up telling me that I was a carrier of a gene, and it's a muscular gene or something like that that affects the muscles. He sent me to a specialist. I was with the specialist most of my pregnancy until I think up to the last 2 months of my pregnancy with Auntie. Luckily, Casey didn't have the gene, so Auntie doesn't have the gene, so it doesn't affect him. But I was really stressing about that because it was really scary, and everything that they were telling me, like, if he does have this, then he probably won't be able to live past the year and his bones won't grow right, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff. It was very chaotic. I didn't even know I was a carrier of the gene. I would tell y'all what it is, but it's like MRA or MSR, something like that. But it's so irrelevant because I don't, it doesn't affect my baby, so I'm not worried about it. Went to a specialist. During that time, I found a new OBGYN. She was amazing. She did everything that I wanted. I wanted to try and do a natural birth. She, I don't know. She was completely different from the other one that I had. And you could tell that guy just wanted money and he wasn't really concerned about his patients. This lady, she had a whole different vibe to her. With this pregnancy, I don't have her. I have a different lady. And she's still amazing, and it's in the same office. Let's talk about when my water broke. So I had him at 39 weeks. And 2 days prior to me supposed to be getting induced, I went and I wanted my lashes done. So I went and I got my lashes done. By the way, the girl that did my lashes was amazing. I always recommend her. If I see that someone's trying to, find someone that does lashes, I always recommend her, okay? And I'll probably tag her in this post. But anyway, so I was getting my lashes done and I felt mind you, when people say your water can break, it's not gonna feel like somebody threw a whole jug of water on you or a whole water bottle. It's gonna be a gush of water, and that might be it. Me being the first time mom, or soon to be mom, I didn't know what to expect. So as I was laying there getting my lashes done, my water broke, and I'm like, okay, didn't think too much about it. 2 days passed by. The second day, I was like, man, ignore the noise, it's because of him. But the second day, Auntie wasn't moving so much. And I was like, okay. Mind you, this day, I said, I'm gonna go to the hospital. Casey had his sneaker show going on. So he left, I told him, I said, I'm fine. You go to the sneaker show. I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'm sure I'm gonna be okay. And then I'll just meet you at the sneaker show. So he had a lot going on that morning. My brother took me to the hospital. I'm thinking I'm just hungry, my stomach was hurting. I thought it was because I hadn't ate that morning. And I don't recommend that, guys. Eat before you go to the hospital, seriously. When I went in, they told me I was having contractions. Mind you, it had already been 2 days since my water broke and I was still only 1 centimeter dilated, which was not good. They ended up moving me to a room and trying to get me to, dilate. And this whole process, I had to call my husband, I had to tell him, hey babe, like this is happening right now. We're about to give birth to the baby, like it's about to happen. So he had to leave his sneaker show. He's a real one. He had to leave his sneaker show. I went to the hospital maybe like around 9 in the morning, and I was there like forever. I was there forever. And I went in, they ended up telling me that because it had already been the 2 days, if I was not dilated to a certain point before, I believe it was like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then they're gonna have to do a emergency C-section. And I was freaking out because I'm like, I really don't want that. Shout out to the women that do go through that, because that is a whole different process. I can't really speak on it, but I do see like the recovery in it. It's more challenging. Shout out to y'all, seriously. And I found out too that if your first is a C-section, your second, your third, your fourth, it's gonna just keep being a C-section, which is not fair. I feel like it's not fair because, you know, they're kind of going based off of, well, this is what happened the first time, rather than letting your body do it naturally and the baby coming out naturally. Let's finish. Okay, so mama's gonna talk and then I'll let you talk. Okay? Okay, but let me talk first, okay? So they gave me so many different things. I had amazing nurses that really helped me, got me to dilate to a certain point. I did not want the epidural. I tried so hard to not get the epidural. I made it to 8 centimeters without the epidural. But I was dying, and I really think I was losing my mind. My husband hasn't really told me if I was losing my mind, but I feel like I was going crazy because I was in so much pain. I don't want to do the epidural this time, but you never know what's gonna happen. Because when you get the epidural, you can't move around. You start, you know, your legs are numb. You can't feel nothing. You can't move around. You can't even go to the restroom by yourself. So I don't know, it was a little challenging. After I gave birth to him, we had to stay in the hospital 3 days after I gave birth to make sure I didn't have an infection and make sure he didn't have an infection, just because it was 2 days that went by and my water was broken. That's the whole journey. Mind you, after we got home, 2 weeks later, I had to go back to the hospital because I had a infection in my leg. And if you know my leg story, well, you know, in my blood, it was just like, it was really bad. So when I went and I was in the hospital, I believe for like a week, they would not let my son be there with me all night. Casey ended up like sneaking him in, and they would spend the night and stuff like that. And after a while, you know, the hospital was like, okay, whatever, just come in, you know. That was my journey. And like I said, if your water breaks, if you have that and your water breaks, even if you feel a little gush of like leakage or water, go to the hospital. If you feel like the baby's not moving as much, go to the hospital. To save yourself and the baby, just go. Don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I think I'm fine. No, just go. With this pregnancy, I do not put nothing past me. I will go to the hospital if I need to go to the hospital, and if I feel like I need to go to the hospital. Yeah, that's my journey with Auntie, my firstborn. Catch you guys up on baby number 2 when baby number 2 gets here.